Alrighty. Should be giving that just a second. I think we're live. I think. If we are, good morning, brothers and sisters. Yep, it says we're live. How we doing? Happy Sunday, everybody. I'm going to make sure I look at the actual camera this time, because if you saw my most recent video, I basically stared at this really bright light that's shining in my face, thinking it was the camera. And if you're asking yourself, Landon, just move your chair a little bit over so you're not staring into a bright light. I thought about that, but I'm going to keep doing it because I've noticed when I stare into the camera, I get in my own head. But when I've got this light in my face, I don't realize. It's like when you're standing on stage. So I'm going to just keep doing it. But anyways, if I know my congregation, which, by the way, welcome to the Church of Doom if you're new here. This is my RPG YouTube channel where I talk about just whatever cool kind of creative, fun hobby stuff I've got going on. A little bit of a rebrand going on here. A little more casual tone. But if I know my congregation like I know my congregation, you're probably all thinking, when did this become a D&D drama channel? Why are we talking about the most controversial thing going on in the hobby right now, which is that the Blue Dragon got a redesign? Well, spoiler alert, we're not. At least not really. That's not like the main topic of today. I knew it would get more eyes and more clicks, which means I guess I do know my congregation, but I'm a little disappointed too. I would have hoped that coming into today's stream, I didn't see as many pre-likes on the video, that it was a little clickbaity, but like I said, I know my congregation and I know D&D players. But so if we're not here to talk about this necessarily, what are we here to talk about? We're gathered here today, brothers and sisters, for a very... I just realized my laundry's still going. I'm gonna go turn that off in a second. But we're here for a fun, relaxed, chill conversation about not this stuff. We're going to talk today about the things you are all most excited about going on in the RPG hobby, because it feels like, as opposed to maybe a few months ago where I was like kind of not very not optimistic, because I didn't think D&D was dying. Because also, I wanted to maybe touch on this Reddit post that I saw that was really interesting. This was like 4 months ago, but someone said, "Am I the only one getting sick of all the YouTube and I'm assuming they meant videos and articles about how D&D is dying?" Right? I never felt like D&D was dying, but I have felt like 6E was gonna land with a bit of a dud, or land with a thud. Is that the saying? I don't know, but. So I don't want the stream is not about this. It's not talking about, oh, woe is us and 6E is Wizards of the Coast is ruining everything. Nah, we're gonna talk about all the cool stuff. And so I'm going to be watching chat here in just a second, but I wanted to kind of just kick off the conversation. Well, actually, first, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to throw up the image of the Blue Dragon. So this is this article was from comic book gaming, some forum site. But yep, I knew it. We'd get a fucking ad immediately. So congrats, Google. You don't get the revenue from that. We're going to just look at a picture of the image. So look at this for a second and tell me, when I come back here, I'm going to look at the chat. Tell me what you think is different. What have you noticed? And don't go read the article and come back and like, oh, well, I know exactly what's wrong. Just take an authentic guess here. And I'm going to be right back. I'm going to turn my dryer off so that that's not getting picked up by the mic. Oh shit! Oh, I accidentally forgot to click unmute. Don't worry, you didn't really miss anything. All I was doing was laughing at my man Mako, who was like, how far the church has fallen. We're doing clickbait. No, how far the church has fallen is that I forgot to unmute myself, and this is poor production value. But it's always been that way. And you guys stick around, which is why I love y'all, and which is why I like doing it. So, dragons, now that I'm back, now that you can hear me, did you notice anything different about the blue dragon? I mean, it's got the lightning. It's flying. At first, I was like, oh, wow, they're doing like a wyvern design. I thought maybe there were only 2 legs. But I was like, no, okay, it's got the legs back there. So that's pretty normal. It's got its big horn. So did anybody see what it was? My man Mako says, I don't know, it looks very birdy to me. Just like the dragons of Astrid and How to Train Your Dragon. Oh, that's a fun comparison, How to Train Your Dragon. Wait, you all can hear me now, right? I'm assuming you can hear me now. I haven't seen more people saying no audio. Yeah. Okay, so it seems like since nobody's taking a stab at it, I'm going to guess that y'all are kind of like me and you're like, I don't really know what the difference was. Well, it turns out there's huge controversial differences. They got rid of the spiky ears, they slimmed down the horn, and basically just made it less chonky. That was like all they kind of touched on. And the reasoning behind it was very cool. It was like the blue dragon, the designer guy was like, yeah, in the older editions, the blue dragon was always big and had this like heavy, thick horn, and it looked like creatures that lived in the desert. But he's like, it never really felt like, to me, it reflected the lightning aspect. And when I read that, I was like, oh, hell yeah, I can totally see that now, how it's got much slimmer features that the lightning can kind of arc down quicker and like just like a lightning rod, right? A lightning rod on top of a building isn't just some big, thick, giant obelisk. It is a thin piece of wire. So I really liked that. And the bird thing that you mentioned too, that it looks a little more bird-like, I agree. And he said later in the article, he's like, we also want, there's not a lot of creatures that fly in the desert besides birds and insects, right? And I guess bats. But he's like, you don't see as many as you do in other environments. So maybe that was a big inspiration here. It's more beak-like with its jaw, and like its wings are a lot more prominent than its legs, right? Like they seem to almost dwarf the rest of the body, kind of like how on a bird's anatomy it would. And one thing I'm also realizing, just looking at the design, is I remember knowing that like rabbits and a lot of mice and things in the desert have big ears to let off a lot of heat. And look at the wing here. See how it's kind of got that like pink discoloring? It's like light shining through, like when you hold a flashlight up behind your hand and it kind of lights up the tissue. So I'm wondering if maybe this is like something to do with that. Like it lets off the heat. And that's nothing that'll be in the rules. It won't have an ability for that, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's maybe what the designers were thinking. But what about you all? What do you think? Let's see. I mean, do we like the design? Because I like it. This is some of the... I've been pretty, like, half and half on the 5e art, or 6e art that I've been seeing. Some of it I really, really, really like. Like this piece. I think this is awesome. If I showed this to my players, or if I... Just seeing this, I'm like, what an awesome start to a session, right? A lot of us, I'm sure, have done a start to a session where there's, like, a lightning flash that wakes everybody up. And especially if you're out on a ship, right? You might be woken up in a storm. Well, what if your campaign started with the player's airship getting rocked by a bolt of lightning, and you describe it as like, it sounds like one of the most violent storms the ship has ever flown in, but you've manned it through worse. And then you hear the roar of the dragon as it rocks the ship. Roll initiative. Like, that would be cool. And I also like all of the new like book art I'm a big fan of, but then there's art like Vecna's redesign or a lot of the interior art that I'm like it's pretty lame to me. The Pengu Pete says, sounds cool when you talk about it. I got no issues. Yeah. And that's sort of the point, just to start transitioning us maybe into the main topic today, is that when I saw the title of the article, let's go back to that, right? When I saw that it was explains controversial blue dragon redesign, I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, do we need another controversy do we need another controversy in the RPG community? Like, I've been browsing YouTube a lot, just trying to like consume as much content as I can to see like what do I think is good right now and what do I think is bad right now. And frankly, a lot of D&D YouTube, in my opinion, is not, I don't want to say bad, but maybe uninspiring. Like it's just kind of like same old. Like we're rinse and repeat all the videos that were done in 5th edition are now being done for 6th edition. But if 6th edition was supposed to be cross-compatible or backwards compatible with 5th edition, do we need to do a bunch of videos to re-explain the things that we've been doing this whole time? Right? Like, so the point, again, pushing myself forward here, I'm actually going to click on this link so we can kind of read this or I already had it open. This gets me into the point of today's sermon, and I want to hear your opinions on this. You know, is D&D's dying, 6th edition, Wizards of the Coast is evil, oh, like, D&D's falling off, who cares? Okay, fine. Honestly, probably. Like, yeah. Professor Dungeon Master puts out videos talking about what Wizards of the Coast has done wrong this week, and that's informative, and I'm glad he does that because someone needs to do those types of videos. And I like that his are more informative. He just does what I did with this thumbnail, which is like a little bit of a clickbait to get you to watch. But so I don't have a problem with that, like reporting. But what I do have a problem with, and the sentiment that I think this person was maybe trying to get across, is just like, is anybody having fun in the hobby right now? Or like, and that sounds like harsh saying it out loud, but I'm more thinking like when anybody is sitting down to film a YouTube video about D&D, I'm sure you guys have fun playing the game. At least I hope so. Maybe I'm projecting here. I'm thinking more in like the D&D online sort of community. I don't know. I just have not come across a lot of channels where I feel like they're really like passionate and excited about whatever it is they've got going on. One channel that I've already plugged before, though, is Man Alone. He's like really getting into he's just been, frankly, he's like flying way under the radar of the RPG YouTube sphere. He's just a guy like me who just starts recording and kind of just plays like through a solo session, or he'll talk about how cool solo RPGing is. He has videos about how to get into it. And when I watch his videos, I'm like, this dude is pumped. This dude gets it. He knows what RPGs are about. He hasn't lost sight of it. He isn't caught up in the latest controversy of the Blue Dragon redesign. He's just doing his thing, and I really dig that. And I want to see more of that. So, what about you all though? Let's hear some of your thoughts. It looks like it's got a little bit charged, so I can bring this up and read your thoughts here. Okay, here's from Penguin Pete. He said, I also feel like D&D is bigger than ever, but I'm also late to the D&D party. Just started playing a year ago. Ooh, interesting. God, that's a very, what was even going on a year ago in D&D? Nothing good, I don't think. I think that was like a really weird time to get into D&D. I'm curious. Okay, Pete, I'd want to know, what got you into the hobby? What was it that, despite maybe all the things you were hearing, I actually would also be curious to know if you were hearing all of the stuff that was going on, or if you were just kind of like, you got into the hobby, you were really excited, and then you showed up at the table and you're like, oh, why does everybody seem bummed? or I don't know, what were your expectations coming into it? My man Mako says, oh, what's all the fuss with the dragon about? Nobody's putting a gun to your head and forcing you to use a particular artwork. Yeah, and my man Mako, I don't want to go back to the dragon conversation too much, but I can join it into this a bit. I'm being a hypocrite because I did what the video or what that article did, and what everybody is doing, which is just we're convincing you there's a controversy. We're telling you somewhere out there somebody is upset about this thing, which we all know anyways because it's the internet. We already know that. But when you see an article about it, then you're like, "Ooh, I'm gonna click that." What do these people think? Because if they think it's, we don't have to even get down into the weeds of like choosing your side, whatever. But like, that's why they did that. There wasn't a controversy about the Blue Dragon redesign because it hadn't even happened. Like, the Blue Dragon redesign hadn't even been released yet. This is the preview image. Oh, whoops, that's the ad for the article. This is the first, I think, like, image that they put out of it. And they already were like, let's address the controversy. You're like, what? There was a controversy? I think this is cool. If you hadn't said anything, well, that would have been lame. Obviously, you want to, like, the designer notes are cool to hear about. But, like, if they hadn't, which would be in character for them, if they just put this out or were like, here you go. I don't even know if I would necessarily have questioned it at first. It would have taken me probably a little bit to be like, huh, what? I'm going to go back to the old design. And then I would notice, oh, yeah, it's slimmer and blah, 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 and all those things we already talked about. So, okay, let's come back, though. I see a couple of new things in the chat here. Let's see. Jack, as someone who thoroughly hates Wizards of the Coast and has gone off 5e, I don't find constant pessimism tiresome. Or you do find constant pessimism tiresome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what it is. It's just pessimism. And I wonder what that means for the future of a lot of our big D&D channels. Or maybe like some of the legacy channels. Like Matt Colville has... I would never... like. No disrespect to the Colville, right? To say he's fallen off is not fair, because I think he's just he's like doing what I think Runehammer is doing, making an active decision to focus more in like his publishing side of the business, less on the video side. Excuse me. So like he phased out of the YouTube scene, again, not that he's totally phased out, but he's like died down in a different way than I think some of these other legacy channels could potentially, if they keep just riding the pessimism train. And then once the pessimism train stops getting the views, they switch over to, let's start talking about all the coolest things in 6e. Like, if everybody adopts it anyways, all these channels are just going to, like, probably just make videos. They're going to make videos about it no matter what. It is my suspicion. So, but what do you think? Diamond says, well, I don't really care for articles that try to live off drama, real or manufactured. I also think RPG is what happens at the table, and it's a D or attached. Oh, detached or attached to rule and design changes as you want it to be. I agree with that point. Howdy, by the way, Colin. Good to see you, man. The Penguin Pete says, my friend invited me to play while he started. Oh, cool. So Penguin Pete, just for anybody who's like, who's this Penguin Pete guy? He said he joined D&D a year ago, which is just a weird time to have gotten into the hobby. He said, my friend invited me to play while he started to DM. I had no idea what I was getting into. I thought it was going to be super complicated and hard to understand my character sheet. But then it was... Oh, okay. But then it was. Next message. Super fun. It really got my creative juices flowing about all kinds of characters I could create. Cool. I'm glad you had a good introduction to it then. That's encouraging. I'm happy to hear that. I'm guessing, what system are you playing? Is it straight up like Dungeons and Dragons and you're going to switch over to the new rule set when it comes out? Do you have like future plans? Are you going to run anything? Because don't do what everybody's... Well, I actually think you're going to hear this advice more often than the other advice. You might hear, or your instinct might be like, oh, I'm going to wait a year. I want to play a little bit before I run a session. I guess technically I played before I ran because I'd played in like one or two one-shots in like middle school as part of like a kid's birthday party. His dad ran a big one-shot for a bunch of us, which was kind of cool. But like I started in the hobby as a GM. So you don't have to wait at all. So Pango Pete, if you're like, I've got all these crazy ideas bouncing around in my head right now about my own world, like get started, man. Start building your world. Start getting a group, or even see if your GM of your group would want to do maybe like a rotation kind of thing where you run, like maybe every third week of the month, they get a break and you run a little one shot. That would be a good way for people to get into D&D actually. Or get into game mastering is just sub in for a one shot every once in a while. Let's see. Jack agreeing. Yeah, Colville's transition into his game company, it's going really well, but his YouTube has definitely suffered. His RPG looks great though. He's clearly on the RPG Hall of Fame right now, right? You like or Critical. Yeah, I guess all of Critical Role's cast could have their own little Mount Rushmore or whatever. But you've got Matt Colville, obviously. You got Matt Mercer's up there. I'll let you fill in the rest of your Hall of Fame, but those two big time. Just like I don't think it's you can't deny that they're always going to have a huge impact on the popularity of the game because of some of those early videos and things that they did. Okay. Let's see. Let's go back to, I don't want to confuse people with just the Blue Dragon art. My man Mako saying, D&D is great because it's very fluid, and if you have an understanding with the players at the table, you have very little reason to care for whatever is happening outside your gaming alcove. That also, that doesn't confirm a suspicion of mine, but that was another thing I was thinking about that I wanted to hear from y'all today on is, like, is your table group enough for you? Is that all you need to be satisfied not satisfied to not feel like you have FOMO? Like if you just played with your group every week and you never watched another really like D&D video, whether it be drama or like more what channels kind of like what I try to do is just like here's some cool ideas that you could use. If you just never watched a channel, would you be fine with that? Or is the online I want to be careful that online. I guess it is online. Is the online community a crucial part of your hobby as well? And this might be a biased question because I'm asking 23 people who are tuned in on a Sunday afternoon watching a live stream about D&D. So clearly you all are very like passionate and invested in some aspect of the online community. But I also have a suspicion that a lot of us who are that invested, like you could leave us with just dice and that would be enough. So probably a dumb question, actually. Pengu Pete said, my DM right now is leaning towards switching over to 6th edition. By the way, I'm not a DM, but one day I want to. You've inspired me to create my own world. Great. That's awesome. How are you going about it? What idea do you have for your world? Maybe we could kind of help you today, in the name of not talking about drama and controversy and more in the name of talking about the future of RPGs. Why don't we get started now, live, with helping you create the start of something? And I would just, invite you to Pengu Pete drop a 1-sentence description. If you could summarize just the whatever you have so far in your head and an idea for a world or a setting, share it in the chat and let's see what we can come up with for you. What else we got? Hey, what's up? Machina Animata. Tried to get into D&D a couple of times just to build heavy. It's just to build heavy mechanically for me. You think so? D&D is too build heavy? Try Morkborg. That's like you get one kind of cool class ability and that's it. And that doesn't really change over the course of a campaign as far as I can tell because your characters die so frequently. And when you're leveling up, you're more like boosting ability scores and stuff and not getting a bunch of new feats and things. So if you want just something that you can click a generate character button and you get one cool ability, Morkborg is a great system for you to maybe check out. And they also have a really cool solo Morkborg supplement called not Forbidden Psalm. That's the skirmish. There's Morkborg, there's Forbidden Psalm, and there's Solitary Defilement. I think you can only kind of get it as a PDF right now, but a lot of you who are watching these videos right now who clearly are like hungry for this type of experience, you're hungry for more RPG in your life. Solo RPGs, I'm calling it it's stupid to say I'm calling it because it's already it seems pretty obvious. I think it's only going to keep getting bigger as D&D 6th edition releases and becomes more popular, and a lot of us who are kind of still have a sour taste in our mouth and are looking to expand a different aspect of the community. I think solo has a lot of opportunity for indie writers and developers, game developers, rules developers, right, and artists to carve out their own section of the community. Because if you're dependent upon somebody else's rule set, you're competing with everybody else who's trying to do the same thing you're doing. Everybody who wants to put something out for Pathfinder, everybody who wants to put something out for Morkborg. I'm in that boat. I'm trying to kind of compete with a bunch of other people, but solo RPGs doesn't really have a lot of people doing anything in it right now, as far as I'm aware. So something I think all of us could explore, both as creators and players and hobbyists. I was going to say consumers, but I do not want to say consumers. What did Infinite say here? The Pengu Pete raises a good point with his experience, and I can say it's very real when talking to my friends. The drama is easily avoidable. Just enjoy the content and play. Good. Yeah. What else we got going on here? Dreaded Bale says, I follow Pointy Hat, but usually have a DM circle to talk to, and it's is usually enough. Oh, cool. A DM circle. Is it at your local game store? Or is this a DM circle of people you've like played video games with online? That's cool that you've got a circle of DMs. Who would be in my DM circle? I've got my dad. He's one of the people I talk about D&D with the most. One of my buddies, Quinn, has DM'd a bit, but I don't know if we necessarily talk about GMing a ton. It's mostly my dad, I think, that I talk to about GMing, so that's cool that you've got a circle of people to do that with. Oh, hell yeah, Machina Animata plays Morkborg, Electric Bastion Land, Black Sword Hack. Cool. Black Sword Hack, I haven't played and haven't read it in nearly as much detail as I have like Morkborg, but the vibe and the verbiage and everything I've kind of gotten from it so far feels very similar to my like the kind of stuff that I like, the tone of games that I like. So maybe I need to check it out a bit more. Okay, Pangu Pete says, I want to create a world with minimal magic. I want it to be really special and rare, and lots of familiar Earth-like creatures with accentuated characteristics. High desert environment like Bend or I don't know what Bend is. Oh, Bend, Oregon. I thought you were saying Bend or something else. Yeah, but okay, that's cool. Yeah, that would be really fun. I'm trying to think if there's any like system or something that jumps to mind immediately that could help you out with that. I think like for Forbidden Lands. That's a cool system that has like it looks very rocky, deserty, and it has like a dragon or a velociraptor, like the hero's riding a velociraptor through a desert or something. So that might be a system to check out. Because if it's your own world, right, and if it's going to be your own group, you can run whatever system you want. It doesn't have to be 6th edition if you don't want it to be. But a high desert environment. I've never really explored a high desert environment. To be totally honest, I'm not sure how high desert differs from what I'm thinking of just Wild West desert, just like cowboys, right? Riding through vast, I'm thinking of red rocks and canyons and vast, dried, dead lakes and things like that. More stuff that I see here in Utah. So maybe tell me a little bit more about what that environment looks like, and then we could help you out. Josiah is saying he's been trying to make a Wild West or a Weird West campaign world for my first time game mastering. Recently moved away from some family members I was going to play with, so it'll be online. Advice, please. Yeah, Josiah, check out, here, let's see. What was it called? Runehammer has a system in a weird Wild West. Oh, what the hell is it called? Dead Mountain? Is it Dead Mountain? DEA Dead? Mountain. I don't think that's it. RPG. Hold on. Let's see if we can find this for you. Ghost Mountain. That's what it is. Ghost Mountain. Check out Ghost Mountain. It's a really cool. It's D20 core system. It's using index card RPG, which is just a kind of a really fun reskin of 5th edition that I'm very passionate and I'm a big fan of. But it's like Wild West meets hell, and I don't know if he has aliens in the setting, but it's something you could very easily introduce because of the like Cthulhu mythos and how adjacent that can kind of be to demonic possession and stuff like that. So I think we've got someone staying with us because, like I said, wedding's 2 weeks out, and Erin had her bridal shower yesterday, which was a ton of fun. But I think her friend who's staying with us might have just hopped in the shower. Let me know if you can hear that water running down the pipe. Let me know, and I might have to call this a little early. But if not, we'll keep going. Anyways, Josiah, just getting back on track. That's the advice. Go check out Ghost Mountain. See if it's something you'd be interested in. And then next time we're on stream, you can let me know if you liked it or not. Infinite saying, now that you explained Morkborg, I DM'd an improvised one-shot to 4 newbies. One of them had a lethal experience with only a lethal, is that, or a light experience with only a D20. Sort of played how you described it. It was very fun. I got a little confused on what you're saying, but it sounds like you just ran a really cool one-shot for some four newbies, and one of them died, which is what you want in a Morkborg game. That's cool. When someone dies, like if nobody's dying when you're playing Morkborg, then you're robbing yourself of a great experience. Oh, Josiah wants lore advice or GM advice. Okay, for a Wild West campaign or Weird West. The GM advice or lore advice? What would I say? I would probably do. I mean, my first instinct is what it is with basically everything when it comes to D&D. I just almost create like a mood board in my head. Or when you say Wild West, I just stop. I think, okay, what are some of the first things that jump into my mind when I think of Weird Wild West? So, like, for example, I'm thinking of, like, well, I just thought of the movie Bonesaw Tomahawk? Bone Tomahawk? There's, like, a really, really gory horror movie about this group of townsfolk, I guess, who go out into the desert to try and rescue somebody, and the Native Americans basically just butcher. It's really gory and probably pretty problematic of a movie, but like I think of just like brutal violence out in the Wild West, lawlessness. I think of and lawlessness could be a very fun theme to explore. If by weird Wild West you're meaning Cthulhu-y kind of weird Wild West, and as opposed to like Cowboys versus Aliens and more just like, I don't know, maybe I need you to describe what you mean more of the tone of Weird Wild West, but I'm picturing, you know, weird lights in the tavern or in the saloon at night that you're seeing, and people going missing, and you're going out into the desert and finding these obelisks that have been here for a million years and crazy things like that. And it's alien possession, but it's not Chrome spaceship alien possession. It's more like Cthulhu paranormal. Pengu Pete giving me a little context for what a high desert is. So it's pine trees, snow during the winter, but dry and rocky during summer. Lots of rivers, lakes, waterfalls, lots of orange rock. Oh, so that is what... Excuse me, hold on. Then that's pretty similar to what I'm thinking of here in Utah then. Oh, cool. Pengu Pete saying mood board is a good idea. Yeah, and a mood board, it kind of is a mood board. We actually have somebody in our community, God, everybody has different usernames across Discord and YouTube and everything. I can never remember, but we have someone in our congregation who does like a literal mood board. If they have a cool idea for a character, a town, or whatever, they'll go and onto Pinterest and Instagram and stuff, and they'll pull 6 images. They'll limit it to just 6, and they'll put them in this cool like 2-column, 2-row, 2 columns of 6 images little mood board. It's really, really cool. I'll have to see if I can find some, or maybe if they're here with us today, they can point you to them in the Discord or something. But what I'm describing isn't quite like a mood board. It's more of like a tone board. What's when you are thinking of a visual tone board, which I guess is a mood board. That's just another name for it. But I am not thinking of it from a visual standpoint so much as an experience standpoint. What are the experiences I think of it with the story related to this story or environment I want to explore? The experience of walking through this hostile, lawless desert, as opposed to just a picture of a barren desert, right? They're two very, very different things in my mind. Okay, Josiah expanding on Wild West, saying it's like D&D, fantasy races, and lots of undead. I was going to have an undead outlaw villain. Oh, dude, yeah. Then you really, really should check out Ghost Mountain. If you want undead D&D, like you really don't want anything too different from 5.5. You want it to be sitting in that comfortable familiarity for you and your players, but you want a system that like is meant for a Wild West type vibe. You're doing your players dirty if you don't at least pull a few things out of Ghost Mountain to adapt to your game. You don't have to play it exactly as it's written, but at least check it out because it'll do a lot of good for you. What else we got? Anything else going on in chat? I'm running a Wild West campaign using Frontier Scum. Oh, that's a Morkborg thing, right? Because like Gutter Scum and Frontier Scum, I think that's a I think that's more important. But I dig it. That's cool. How are we doing on time? We've been streaming. Oh my god, it's only been 36 minutes. That's crazy. Wow. Anyways, what else y'all got going on in chat? It's kind of interesting that I jumped on here today to do a stream about the things that we're all most excited about. And I mean, granted, I kind of took us down a little bit of a detour here to help prep a little bit of a setting and stuff, so maybe that's part of the reason here, but I haven't really seen a lot of people talking in chat. Like, I'm just not seeing a lot of messages or activity that would lead me to believe people are super pumped about D&D outside of their own group. Like, it kind of, like, I'm getting the sense that you're all kind of sitting at your computers at home looking at me like, okay, like, are you gonna entertain? Like, get on with it. Do entertain us. I'm like, I mean, I guess, like, I can think about what am I excited about in D&D. What am I excited about in D&D? I've started my start playing campaigns, or at least my Tuesday group. Still trying to get seats filled for my Thursday group. So if you want to play D&D every Thursday at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time with me, and you want to use Morkborg, and here, actually, you know what? I should show you this. You guys are gonna think this is cool. Oh, whoops! Didn't mean to turn Siri on. If I go to Owl Bear Rodeo, I want to show you my setup. Profile. Boop. Okay, so this is what, if you want to play, this is what you'll be getting yourself into. If not, you're just going to see a really cool setup for a campaign. But this is everything that I've got set up right now for my players in my Tuesday group for Morkborg. And this is all in Owl Bear Rodeo, just like click and drag and drop, copy paste. It is so easy to use. So you can see I've got all of my digital minis that I've been working on. So they're all prepped here, ready for them to kind of pull from. This is like the death pool, or the dead pool. It's just all the characters are going to be able to pull whenever theirs dies and they need a new one. So that'll expand as I keep making new minis. And I've got some whips that I've been posting on Instagram. You can go see a couple new things that I've been kit bashing. Then the rules are all here in a quick reference sort of deal. I've got the this might change. I'm unsure. I might change our map at the beginning, but they've got their region map to reference. Then this is cool. I haven't updated it because they haven't picked out their exact characters yet, but all of their character sheets are in Owl Bear Rodeo, and they can go in, and I added these text boxes. Wow, I said that word really weird. I have like a Dr. Pepper burp coming up. There we go. Excuse me. I added these text boxes in here so they don't have to click out of any window to play in this game. They just are able to like scroll down, look at their character sheet, scroll back up, look at the map, see what's kind of going on. And I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to try. I want to try doing a literal fog of war on this map where instead of doing the black, like drag these big rectangles and it's just completely black on the screen, like what's over here blocking out the images of the monster minis, I'm going to try and bring in some PNG transparent images of literal like clouds and fog that I can drag and drop on the screen to cover certain aspect or certain areas of the map, because I think that will just look so much cooler than the black boxes, because I also found them very clunky and confusing in Owlbear to use. You have to toggle a lot of different, I guess it's not a lot, it's only 2 tools I think, but you have to like inverse toggle the add fog of war, but I don't even know how to explain it. It just was clunky to use, I feel like, as a UI. So all I did instead is I just made this one little opaque black box that I can see through because it's the GM screen that I can hide all of my minis under. And this is cool because if I want to drag one out, I then don't have to click it and like, okay, let's make it, if it was transparent before, I'd have to click it, make it, see, I'm already fucking myself up trying to do this, but then I'd unhide it and now I can use it. But to just speed up my GMing, I can have everything already like viewable just under this one little section. So whenever I'll have that done by this upcoming Tuesday, I think, because I'll be playing, I'll be running that session. But I'm going to try out that sort of fog of war thing. So that's something I'm excited about. That'll be really cool. This whole setup I'm really, really excited about. I think the players seemed to enjoy it a lot. And one other thing I forgot to show off. So you know how we all hear the advice of, or we all hear this advice. We all hear, get your players involved in the world building, bring them into your world, get them, let them give you some of the details. And I've liked that idea, but I've never really done it. And so this session 0 that I just ran, I was like, no, we're gonna do it. I'm committed to bringing them into the process. And so what we did as a group is we brainstormed the apocalyptic doomsday psalms that is part of the Morkborg system. They've got the calendar of Necrobel, where every day at dawn, you roll a dice to see if something, if the world gets closer to ending. And I wanted us to have a custom list. Oh, wait, no, sorry. This was my agenda for the session 0. Where was my... Here it was. We called it the First Omen. So this was a list that I didn't brainstorm all of these. It's in my voice because I wrote them as we were doing it as a group. But these are from the players. So they thought it was so cool. I'm kind of patting myself on the back here. But they were really pumped of wait, so you're saying that the thing that I'm describing might happen to us in the future? My idea is going on the random table for our game. They a lot of them were they almost had, it seemed like they'd never done that before, which I hadn't either. So I don't want you to think I'm I'm so good at what I do. This is the first time I've tried that, and I'm gonna continue to do it. I might even do some brainstorming in the middle of a session. My gut right now is telling me at my table, the type of game I want to run is not a theater kids game. Sorry, theater kids, but if you don't think you're the theater kid and you're in theater class, you might be the theater kid. But what I mean by that is when I show up to D&D, I'm in character. I'm here to play my awesome hero, and I'm going to be in character all night. If you love that and that's how you guys play it, that, all the power to you. But at my table, that's just that's a lot. It's a lot. And I love getting into character, but I don't want to be in character all night. We're not here to put on a play. We're here to tell a really fun, crazy, wacky story and build memories. And this is a memory that I already am wow, this was so fun. And it was the very first session. It was awesome. And what were some of even the ones on here? It was the spires shall be festered with false souls. I don't know what that means. I have no idea yet. But if we end up rolling, if the fates bring us to that roll, then we'll figure it out as a group. And I'll ask them what do you guys think that means? And then I'll bring that all into one idea and inject it into the campaign. And we have heard this advice because people, it's always be listening. If you're the GM, you're always listening to what your players are saying, so you can add it into the campaign. Not new advice, but I'm proposing to try a different approach, which is, you continue to listen. I'm not saying don't do that, but instead of only being just in the back listening and surprising them with it, sometimes it can be as fun, if not more so, to do it just out in the open meta. Just yep, we're coming up with a random table for our game that we were playing 30 seconds ago, but now we're doing this homebrew brainstorming experience together. And there are going to be tables that love that, and there are going to be tables that hate that. There are going to be players who are what? But I want to just play. And that's totally fine. But this is a way to try D&D. That's maybe part of my mission right now too, is I'm wanting to explore a lot of different ways to enjoy the RPG hobby. And I've mentioned solo RPGing, and we've done a little bit of that where it's me playing through a session with chat. This was a year ago, and those streams aren't even up anymore, and they were kind of fun, but they were a little clunky. But anyways, I want to explore some solo RPGing. I want to explore world building as part of playing D&D. I've never really been on Reddit, but even that is a side of D&D that I'm maybe getting on D&D Reddit is kind of fun. I found that article that I shared with you at the beginning. That's one of the few times in the past couple of months I've even been on Reddit to look at D&D stuff. And it was cool. It was fun to see what you all thought was going on and things like that. So, oh, hey, 55 on Tuesday. Thank you so much for the super chat. $10. Congrats on your upcoming wedding. Yeah, we are excited. It's gonna be awesome. We're why can I not? Oh, there we go. I had a low battery warning. I wasn't able to like the super chat. Oh, I'm way behind on the messages. I think I got lost in my sermon there. But yeah, thank you 55 on Tuesday. Very, very kind of you. That's going into the wedding fund. All that's gonna help us get the day's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be very beautiful. We're doing it at a greenhouse, so there's not a lot of like decor setup we have to do. It already has. That's all gonna be taken care of, and it's gonna have lots of like wildflowers and stuff. It's gonna be cool. I'm excited to share some pictures and stuff with some of you of it. I'm sure some of y'all will want to see what the wedding looked like. I'm sure. Okay, I'm gonna kind of get caught up here on chat. Just skimming it real quick. What was this one? Jack said, I got a Mutants and Masterminds campaign going, set in an alt history Earth, going surprisingly well. Mutants and Masterminds. I haven't heard of that, actually. Or maybe I have, but I couldn't tell you a single thing about Mutants and Masterminds, if it's a D20 or a D6 system. But it's a cool name. And what's the alt history Earth? Is it like, does Mutants and Masterminds have their own canon alt history timeline, or is this something you came up with? That sounds really cool. And Machina Animata said, I'm just more into more of an NSR game, and D&D does not interest me in any way. It never clicked with me. Rulings over rules and freedom of choice over playing a character sheet. NSR. What NSR? Was that just a miss? Did you mean OSR? I'm guessing. I'm like, what is NSR? I've never heard of NSR. Okay, keep skimming, getting caught up. Pengu Pete says, I gotta go. Love the streams. Thanks for reading so much of my chats. I'll start to piece together my world more and get more advice later. Hell yeah, Penguin Pete. Well, you're probably already gone, but if for any reason you're still here or somehow this message gets to you, we do have a Discord. I forgot to add the link into the description here. I'll get that added. But that Discord is a great place to go and get feedback and stuff like that. There's people still chatting it up in there. I'm frankly not very involved on Discord right now. There's just too much going on in my life for me to be able to manage that. But there are still active people in there, which is cool. Let's see. Infinite said, Reddit D&D DM communities are very fun to look up. A lot of creativity and stuff going on there and less drama. Oh, cool. Okay, sweet. Then maybe I'll start sharing more of my ideas there, too. Mo Butt is marrying? That's epic. I know. Well, I'm father. I'm surprised you've never heard me. I'm surprised you've never heard me reference Mother Doom. Or Erin is also her name. Yeah, she will be marrying me in less than 2 weeks. Yesterday it was exactly 2 weeks. Now we're down to 13 days. That's craziness. Mutants and Masterminds is a crazy customizable D20 system with exponential power growth. You can make literally any character in it. Oof. Exponential power growth is a red flag for me. I almost want to hear like the opposite of like, yeah, the players are going to get exponentially less powerful. Not literally, because that's not a fun game, but that like exponential power growth is kind of like level 20. Like that's what I'm hearing. And I've never even ran anything for level 20 characters. It just sounds so crazy. But if you're into it, hell yeah, I'm glad you found a system for you. NSR is New School Revival or Renaissance. Oh, okay, so I have heard of that. Games that use old school philosophy of gaming but use modern ideas and mechanics. Not retro clones, rehash D&D, etc. Oh, wow. Well, this kind of tells you how not involved in the like hardcore publishing side of the hobby I am, because I did not know that. I thought like NSR, OSR, retro clone, like a lot of those I kind of thought were the same thing. I didn't realize that NSR and OSR were so different. But that makes sense that they are different. Jack saying you're not meant to level up much. It's just so you can make any character. Like if you have speed power 1, you can go to 60 feet per turn. With speed 20, you can go like 100 times the speed of sound. Oh, whoa. It's okay. That sounds like a system that would be very. Does it use a lot of dice? I would imagine a system like that is more like it has to be like improv based. Like if you're able to go so crazy with these power swings, how do you build a mechanic for that? Oh, Dreaded Bale and Mo Butt are in the same DM circle? That's cool. So then it must be an online DM circle. That's very fun. Awesome. All right. Well, frankly, everybody, I've kind of showed off the things that I'm like excited about right now, which is my new campaigns that I've got coming up, There's like lots of systems that I haven't explored that we've heard about on here. I am having a ton of fun with like making these maps and these minis and all this kind of stuff. So I'm going to be showing off a lot more of this, and I'm going to be doing some solo RPGing. I don't think it'll be streamed. I think it'll be like just me hanging out, playing a session, then I'll throw it up as a video for y'all. I think Sundays are going to just be the only streams that I do. Just so I explore different types of content. I get in a bad habit where I want everything to be the same because that's easier sometimes. So I'm like, well, if I'm going to do videos, they should just all be live streams. But it's like, well, there's certain content that's hard to do as a stream, and there's certain content that's hard to do as just a recorded video. So I need to stop tying my hands behind my back and just explore different types of content. So what solo system are you going to be using? Probably going to do Solitary Defilement, or a slightly like Doomified version of that, only because if I'm playing Morkborg in my like group campaigns, then things that I prep for my solo can also work in this setting too. So yeah, stick around to the channel, subscribe if you haven't, and don't forget to leave a like and a comment, pay your tithing today, and all those good things. But yeah, if you're excited about Morkborg and solo RPGing, you're going to be hearing a lot more of that from me. But as always, my stuff's going to be as system agnostic as it can be, so that no matter what you're playing, even if you're playing 6th edition, which like rock on, I'm going to be giving you inspiration for it and all kinds of cool new creative ideas. So I'm going to be jumping off here. I think that's it for me today. Love y'all. To go check out the Patreon and the things in the description. Oh, actually, I do have one more thing. The channel has kind of 2 sponsors today. We've got Only Crits, which I talked about in my most recent video, that they've got a really cool Kickstarter going on for their Fuck Me Sharp Edge dice set. I've shared it a few times kind of on the community page and stuff, but it's their dice that if you roll in that one, it's like fuck or fuck me or fuck you. It's a funny set. That's linked in the description. Go check out their Kickstarter. It's in the final week. And then the other one you should go check out is Crusade. They're where I get all of my shirts. Every shirt that I wear basically every day of my life is from Crusade. They're really cool. They're really nerdy. They're really weird. The person who, I don't know if it's a solo operation or if it's the social media person I talk to, but when I message them on Instagram, they're always super nice, and they hooked me up. Oh, actually, I'm going to show you another thing real quick. Hold on. As part of their kind of new launch, I got a couple of their new shirts and some shorts, and then he also hooked me up with this Crusade. Hopefully, you can't see that. Hold on. Crusade tote bag, which is cool. That dragon design is awesome. I love me a tote bag. I'll look snatched walking through Trader Joe's with my D&D Crusade tote bag. Hell yeah. But yeah, so go check those out. You can support other cool people in the RPG creator economy like myself, as well as get yourself something cool. I was going to say, as well as kick a tithing back to me, but I already said that. So yeah, you can help me out and support some other people out and get yourself something cool that I think is a quality product if you're looking to spend a little money. So that's it, brothers and sisters. Great stream. Hope you have a great week. Love y'all. And I will not see you. Will I see you next Sunday? I think next Sunday, yes, because that's the last stream before the wedding. So there should be a stream next Sunday, and then I'll have like at least 2, if not 3 weeks off where I won't be on stream. So definitely tune in then, and you'll get to talk to me for probably the last time for a little bit. But other than that, love y'all. Talk to you later. We say these things in their unholy names. Amen. Let's go. End stream.